The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a series that has been rebooted way too many times throughout the recent years. Some were better than others, but the most recent one has struck the most interest in a lot of people. Old fans and new have speculated on this for quite some time, and I finally gave myself the time to watch it. Got it on DVD recently and just finished watching it, and I thought I'd shelve in this review since it's still fresh in my mind. It's almost 1 o'clock. It's pretty late, so I'm phoning in this review. All my reviews are unscripted, it's really unprofessional. But anyways, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, this one it really came out of nowhere. I mean, the Turtles' most recent reboot before this one was for the Xbox Live Arcade. It was for something similar to the Summer of Arcade that they usually do on Xbox Live. And the Turtles looked really realistic, and they had like weird and fierce facial expressions, like they were dark and they were having a new tone, which was actually the original vision for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They were originally going to be very like dark vigilantes, but they weren't completely serious. They were teenagers, hence the name Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now this new vision was inspired by that original vision, so it's old and new. And they gave these turtles a complete design overhaul. But before I talk about that, let me get the story out of the way. This is basically starting it out. Like the movie starts off with narration by Splinter. He's talking about, oh man, my sons have this potential. We grew together. We had this strange power and we lived among the underground. We weren't known by anybody. The voice of Splinter, it had to grow on me throughout the movie. At first I wasn't really feeling it. But the movie starts off following April O'Neil, who hasn't met the Turtles yet, so this takes place in the beginning. But it's not an origin story. It's kind of odd. But for April O'Neil, they cast Megan Fox. Nothing against her as a person, but I'm just not feeling anything that she does. Like, I didn't like her in Transformers 1 and 2. I didn't like her in Jennifer's Body. And I'm not really feeling her as April O'Neil in this one. I think it was weird casting. I feel like it's because that Michael Bay produced the movie that he had to feel like he needed to put one of his actors in his other movies into it. And I sense that pattern. He always has actors that... I'm getting off topic here. So April O'Neil is just struggling reporter who needs to find this story that'll get her really up there because reporting is her passion. That's her character in this movie. I know that she's more fleshed out in the cartoons. She's not the main character in the cartoons, but she has a bit more going on. She had a bit of an attitude, and that's just completely gone in this movie. But then again, you kind of have to think of this as a series reboot. I could see another movie being made out of this, which isn't a bad thing. It's a modernized version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, the new stories are following the Foot Clan around. And the Foot Clan was like Shredder's army in the original cartoon. They had a bunch of swords, and they were samurai fighting against the Ninja Turtles, but in this one, they're more like a military force that Shredder is holding. They're still kind of traditional because Shredder's Japanese, but they carry guns, but they do have weapons every now and then, but mainly tasers. It's kind of off-putting, but I had to get used to it, and my arm's kind of hurting right now. I have to hold this with one arm. And yeah, the story goes, you're following the Turtles. Things unravel, but I don't want to spoil it. I want to make this a spoiler-free review. But yeah, the Foot Clan is known from all around New York. They're basically popular. But the Turtles aren't really known. It's strange. Like, April O'Neil is the first one to spot them when she brings up the story that there was like this person, a vigilante, that tried to fight against the Foot Clan. No one believed her. Then she started describing the vigilantes, and no one believed her. There were 6-foot-tall turtles. No one's going to believe her. But on to the subject of the Turtles, because I think I got the simplistic story out of the way. The Turtles were extremely well done in this movie. I don't see many reviews on this movie on the internet, probably because I haven't looked them up. I didn't want to experience spoilers for myself, but the Turtles, man, they did them so much justice. Like, when I first saw the trailer, way before the movie came out, I thought the movie was going to be horrible. I'm going to be honest, because not that I was going to blame Michael Bay. Most people were doing that. I was not really feeling this reboot. They've done it so many times throughout the years. The Teenage Mutant Turtles just keep coming back. And I understand why now, too, because when their personalities are done right, they are freaking awesome on screen. Like, every time I saw these turtles on screen, they either had me laughing or I was just I was so into it. Like, I couldn't get enough of those turtles. Like, whenever they weren't on screen and I had to see April O'Neil and Will Arnett, I forgot the name of his character, but it was Will Arnett. He was playing the camera guy for April O'Neil. Basically, the guy who's the under person of her, the sidekick, the lackey, and who just follows her around, and he's got a thing for her. It's Megan Fox, you know. She's hot, but she's not a very good actor. But yeah, the turtles were freaking awesome. And they all had redesigns that fit for their character personalities. Like, Michelangelo, he had a bunch of, like, accessories on him. Like, he had a shell necklace, I think, with, like, glasses at the end of them. And their voices also fit their attitude, too, which has been apparent throughout all of the versions of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You can't have them all sounding the same, otherwise you can't really define them. But it wasn't the voices this time that really set them apart. It was their designs. Like, Donatello has all of this gear on. He's always got glasses, and he puts these goggles on. He scans things. Like, whenever something new's approaching, he'll scan the gun, and its information will pop up in his glasses. It's very Tony Starkish. And Raphael is just really huge and bulking. He's got this very serious voice. And there was a joke in the movie where he's, like, extremely serious, but you hear Michelangelo going on in the background. He's like, he's doing his Batman voice again. Like, they have tons of pop culture references, and they're way more modern. It really makes you feel like the references are a lot more dated now. Like, they were dated in the older ones, too, but they were making references to what was relevant then, and now they're doing it here. So it really pushed forward the idea that this was a modernized Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, they made an X-Men reference, a Star Wars reference, a Harry Potter reference, even. And you always caught those things, and they always made me giggle. It's such a clever written movie. And the action scenes, too, were done very well. Like, whenever the turtles were kicking ass, they were kicking ass. And they even said ass at one point. Yeah, I thought this movie was going to be advertised as strictly a kids movie because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is usually affiliated with kids. But the rating on this one is PG-13, and they really, really used that rating to their advantage. They took an extremely dark tone for this movie. It's not like rated R dark. It's PG-13 dark, and that's, you can only go so far, but they really went pretty far. I mean, I looked over at my dad at one point and was like, geez, this is an extremely different tone than what I was expecting. It's not like that throughout the entire movie. It still had me laughing, but there were some moments where I got really worried. It was like, oh, you're really going to scare kids in this. Oh yeah, and I forgot to talk about Splinter. He's cool. Not really into the voice, but the character design for Splinter, I know he's a rat, or, yeah, he looks really, really like a rat in this one, and it's kind of nasty. You get a lot of close-ups of his face. You know, I like Splinter, but in this movie, I couldn't help but feel uneasy whenever I looked at him. The turtles, I liked them too. A lot of people always made fun of how they looked, you know, with like their lips and their noses and stuff. But with this movie, they used brand new like facial recognition technology where they caught the motion captured actor's face on it. They were wearing the turtle suits, not all the time. Like when they were doing crazy action stuff, they were either stunt doubles or completely CGI. But for the faces, those were always being captured. And the lines had to be read with, they were completely acting their parts. It was crazy. I watched the behind the scenes thing for it because I watched it on DVD. And watching it being all put together really makes you, like, there was a lot of love put into this movie. I mean, people have a strong affinity for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I didn't grow up with the cartoon, but I am aware of their impact to society. They are very, very popular. And it makes sense to me why it's been rebooted so much. You know, but some can be forgotten, but I feel like this one, it can go somewhere. I actually really like the direction it went into. Shredder wasn't even bad either. I heard a lot of negative things being said about Shredder and like videos, like brief videos, not really full thought out reviews. I haven't seen those yet. So I'm doing mine with my own opinions. I thought the movie was very well done. I was very entertained throughout. The weak part of the movie, though, had to be the humans. I mean, that's kind of a given when you're going to do a live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. I could say the same thing about Godzilla 2014, but they only had about 5 minutes of footage with Godzilla. I mean, if they are going to make more of those Godzilla movies, then I would absolutely love them if they had less humans. For the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie that I just saw, They had plenty of the Turtles. They were main characters, and the movie deserved to be named after them. For Godzilla, man, I can't wait for the next one for that one. Okay, I'm going way longer into this review than I wanted to, but go watch this movie and give it a shot. I mean, if you're feeling a lot of doubt because Michael Bay's name's plastered on it, you'll be very surprised like I was with this movie, because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a movie worth watching. I hope you had a good time on Ride Time. I will see you all next time.